This is episode 5 with business startup trainer Jorge Bueno. Hi, my name is Leon Gabrielian, and this is the Thriving Life Club, the podcast for those who want to thrive in every area of life. Thanks for joining me today. Welcome to the club. Let's begin. Have you ever been in a situation when you had a great business idea or had a chance to buy an established and profitable business for pennies on a dollar, but you didn't have enough capital, didn't have enough money? It felt pretty unfair, didn't it? To be at the right place at the right time, but not being financially ready, not being able to buy the necessary equipment to start that business, not being able to buy that franchise, register those trademarks, invest in a cash flowing property, buy advertising for your business, hire programmers to build that software that you've been talking about, build a prototype for your product idea. There are so many cases of businesses dying without even being born because of undercapitalization. In other words, running out of money or not having enough money to lift that business off the ground. That's why I'm very excited about our today's guest, Jorge Bueno. He's a business startup trainer, real estate investor, and business funding expert. He's one of my best mentors and one of the most advanced human beings I've ever met in my life, besides my father. He made a big impact on the way I view both the world of commerce and the world of human potential. We first met 7 years ago. I signed up for one of his courses and quickly became one of his top students by the virtue of applying the materials he was teaching and getting tangible results. I'm going to let him tell you more about himself. Jorge, welcome to the club. Thank you for visiting us today.
Leon, thank you for having me on your show. It is a very important topic, what my expertise is. And I've learned this over the course of many years, buying and selling commercial real estate, apartment buildings, commercial residential, and so forth. I've learned how to fund businesses. And so now I'm teaching entrepreneurs how to access capital so that they can fund their dreams. So if they have a business idea that they'd like to fulfill, a business that gives them enough money to take care of their family long term, then I'd like to help them create funding for their business so that they can start their business, they can fund it for growth and expand, and therefore reclaim their freedom and create jobs in the process and do some great things in terms of freeing up time so you can spend time with your family. So today, we're going to talk about what thriving life really means in terms of my perspective. And so any questions you may have, I'm happy to answer them. I know that your listeners have submitted questions. You have some of your own. I'm happy to give them some insight as to how I do what I do and in terms of building business credit, corporate credit, and commercial credit.
Absolutely. So what do you mean when you say business credit?
Every corporation has a FICO score, so to speak. They don't call it FICO, but as individuals for our credit, we have FICO scores. Now, unfortunately, most entrepreneurs don't understand that their company has a FICO score and their company has a credit report. Now, as an entrepreneur, if you don't know how to develop that credit score and credit report so that you look fantastic on paper, you're not going to get the Walmart contract, the military contract, the Home Depot contract. Or if you're going to do a bids for government work, you may get turned down because they're going to do their due diligence and they're going to find out that your company has terrible credit or no credit. And then they're going to rely on your FICO. And if your FICO is shaky, you're in real trouble. So today, I'm going to talk about some of those things, and I'm happy to move on with any of your questions you may have there.
So why is this important, Jorge? Why is it important to be able to get access to business funding?
The important part is you as an individual not missing out on opportunities. And I'm talking about federal contracting opportunities to sell a product to a large box store or retailer, an opportunity to be in the process where a company is choosing different vendors. They're vetting all the vendors, and you want to be in the final running. And if you're someone who's not set up correctly, you're not even going to make it to the final list. You're not going to be on the radar. You're basically you're going to be dismissed as someone who's small time or not even worthy of doing business with. And so It's going to keep an entrepreneur out of the game if they're not set up correctly. The other thing is why is this important to do is you want to do it now. You want to build your credit reports now and your business funding now when you don't really need it. Because a lot of entrepreneurs, they're scared of credit. What they don't understand is the world is driven by credit and commerce. Everything is credit. When you buy something at the grocery store, that apple or the supplement or the piece of food, whatever it may be, to get it to that store so that you can go in there and buy it, it took about 7 to 10 credit experiences to get it there. The grower has net 30 terms with his fertilizer company and so forth. The grower has to maintain business. The grower sends it to a wholesaler or supplier of some kind. That individual has credit terms with the store, Ralph's, Walmart, what have you. That's another credit term. Then they have to ship it again to your local area. The bill of lading and the shipping companies, that's even another credit experience. So again, the world is driven by credit and commerce. You must have your credit in place if you want to play with the big boys. So absolutely important. So yeah, let's go ahead and tackle the rest of those questions you have there.
So what is business credit by definition? Most people are familiar with credit cards. You mentioned corporate credit, commercial credit.
Yes, that's correct. So there's 3 different tiers, 3 essential tiers when it comes to business funding. Now, I want you to imagine a brick wall right in the middle. On one side, you have your personal expenses. So you have all your personal expenses, personal credit, everything you do with your Discover card, your Amex, your Visa, all your regular stuff. You buy groceries, you go to a movie, fine. And then on the opposite side, you have all your business expenses. You have maybe your lease for your office. You have phones that you pay for, entertainment, business lunches, power lunches, marketing expenses, all the other things that are business. As an entrepreneur, you do not want to commingle. You do not want to mix these things up. What entrepreneurs do is they don't understand money or credit. So they end up kind of willy-nilly starting to mix, well, I guess I'll use my card for a personal expense. And then when the year is over, when they have to do their tax filings, when they have to do their reporting to their partner or an investor, it's just a mess because nothing makes sense. There's nothing like the separation between personal and business. So once you go over to the business side, you have what's called business credit, then you have corporate credit, and then you have commercial credit. So in a nutshell, it's very simple. Corporate credit and below is like net 30 terms. So let's just say, let's start from the bottom. Let's make it real simple. Let's start with business credit. Net 30 terms. You're buying toilet paper for the office. You're buying supplies for the office. Paper, you have vendor accounts. So you're setting those up, and a big reporter of those experiences is Dun & Bradstreet, a global credit reporting agency for businesses. So they'll report how fast you pay. And the faster you pay, the better your score is. And hopefully you pay, because otherwise your score can really suffer. But check this out. That's business credit. It's very simple. Net 30 accounts. That means the bill is due in 30 days. Okay, so they're not going to give you a credit card. They're not going to give you, many times they won't give you a card or anything like that. They'll just say, hey, call us when you need supplies or order from the website. Here's your account number. Here's your login. So corporate credit is one step above that. That means that the company may issue you a private label card. Now, let me give you an example, maybe like fleet services, like for gasoline. So you may have like Shell or Chevron. These are cards that allow you to buy things at their store, like Home Depot or Walmart. Now, on the card, it doesn't say Visa, MasterCard, or American Express. On the card, it just says Walmart or Shell or Chevron. That means that that's corporate credit on the way to commercial credit. Corporate credit now is the ability for you to start getting terms, meaning it's not just net 30 now. They'll allow you to pay it over the course of 6 months, a year, 20 years if you want to make minimum payments. And then so that's the step from business to corporate. Then the next step that you do as you evolve, as you start getting better credit and you start learning the game of commerce, and you start learning from myself when you come to the classes in the business codex. And what happens is that then you get to commercial credit. Visa, MasterCard, American Express, under the name of your business. They were issued to your business because your business has great credit. Not because you have a great FICO score and you signed on the dotted line for your business, but because your business has a great report and they issue directly to your business. So now you get a card that says your company name, your name as the user, And sometimes these cards will report to your personal credit. Sometimes they won't, which is great. Because if you want to maintain your FICO score really high, then you develop your business credit and it doesn't affect your personal, which is cool. Now, sometimes it helps your personal in case your personal FICO is suffering. But these are advanced tactics that I'm talking about. It's not necessary to get into them right now. What we want to do with this talk is to make people aware that they should start separating their personal expenses from their business expenses. That's the first thing. They need to start learning the world of money and the world of commerce and the world of credit, because last thing you want is an entrepreneur who's fearful, an entrepreneur who's fearful of debt, an entrepreneur who's fearful of creating a new product. Oh, what if someone doesn't buy it? Oh, I don't want to buy that thing that I need for my business because what if my business fails? So if you're operating in fear, it's like driving around in a motorcycle. If you're driving around with fear, bad things happen, you get nervous, things happen, and it can ruin a day. Same thing in business. You want to walk with confidence, which is why it brings me back to my original point. Get the money now when you don't need it. Get the funding now, get the credit now, especially when you don't really care about it, right? As an entrepreneur, you might be thinking, I don't need credit. I got a lot of money. I got investors. So if your investors go away, are you still in business? Well, if your investors go away, if you have your own funding, if you can pull out Visa, MasterCard, American Express, and you can pull out cards and lines of credit that are high and you can access major capital, guess what? You're still in business. So that's why it's important, because it keeps you in the game.
Thank you, Jorge. That's great. Sounds awesome. Tell us more about how does the process work? How does this whole thing work?
What an entrepreneur needs to understand is that as soon as you start a business, the companies that report credit experiences for your business are going to develop a credit report for your business, whether you know it or not, whether you like it or not. There's a dossier on your business. They know everything about you. Do you have a real phone line? Is your corporation correct? Meaning, do you keep up with your filings at the state level? Are your IRS filings good? You do returns? Is everything in line? Okay, so there's a report already. Unfortunately, entrepreneurs don't know about it. So here's the big trick, right? Here's what they need to understand right now. That even though you don't understand how to develop credit, maybe why it's so important, what you need to do is start establishing your foundation. So your foundation starts with, once you establish your entity, a corporation of some kind, or even sole proprietorships, as long as you have a tax ID number or what's called an employer identification number that the IRS gives you, it's just a way to track and put you on the radar for filing returns. But as soon as you get that number, companies know about it. And when I say companies, I'm talking about credit reporting agencies that specialize in this. Okay. So as soon as you start getting some vendor accounts set up under your business credit, that is the stepping stone for other companies to say, wow, this company takes care of business. Why don't we offer them an account? Boom. Now you're being offered corporate accounts. Once you have certain amount of vendor accounts, you have a great Dun & Bradstreet score, you have a great Experian business credit score, you have a great Intellus score, a great Equifax business solutions score, and there's a bunch of different credit reporting agencies out there for your business, okay? About 15 of them out there, give and take. Some are going out of business all the time, but they have their own algorithms. But Dun & Bradstreet and Experian and Equifax are always at the root of their algorithms. As soon as you start taking care of those, everything else starts falling into place. And then later on, when you contact a vendor that you want to do business with, if they ask you, hey, by the way, we'd like to pull your Dun & Bradstreet report, you don't have to say, what's that? I didn't even know we had a report. Instead, you say, absolutely, we have an 80 Paydex and above. Feel free to pull it. Happy to answer any questions you may have on our report. In fact, let me give you a copy of our report, save you $200. And all of a sudden that vendor says to you, oh my goodness, wow, I'm dealing with a real player. This guy knows the inside baseball. He knows the lingo, understands, he or she understands what's going on, how this works. And yes, I feel comfortable doing business with someone like that, because guess what? You're dealing with someone who knows. You're not dealing with a knucklehead who just rolls the dice and wants to be in business and maybe is full of ego and just is running around, doesn't really know what this individual is doing. You're dealing with someone who's knowledgeable, who's moving in a steady manner and knows exactly where they're going. And these are some of the principles that we teach in the Business Codex. So, and in essence, that's how it works. And we can get into some more advanced tactics as we tackle some additional topics. But I think I definitely don't want people to feel like, oh my goodness, well, wow, how can I ever get started with this? There's so much. It's not that much. I teach a 40-step action plan that will help individuals set this up correctly. I've been there, done that. And if you're going to go on an African safari, the last thing you want to show up wearing a loincloth and holding a spear and start walking around. Okay. You want to go with a tour guide that has a hardened vehicle that's elevated so that they know exactly where the people who are going to eat you hang out, and they know where the lions hang out, and they know where all the different pitfalls are. You need a mentor. You need a guide. Don't try to do this alone, because when you ruin your business credit, you cannot repair it like you can personal credit.
Thank you, Jorge. That's excellent. So far we talked about business credit, corporate credit, commercial credit. So tell me, what would someone's life look like if they actually applied this information? What would their life look like in 30 days, 90 days, 3 months, 6 months, if they actually applied this information and got results?
The first thing that will happen is that opportunities will present themselves, because guess what? You are prepared as an individual. You start setting up your credit reports, doors will open. Here's the other thing that'll happen. Your confidence will go through the roof, because you'll be hit up by venture capitalists or angel investors, and they'll say something like this to you. We'd love to invest in you, but we'd love to see your business plan. And then you can turn around and say to them, excuse me, I don't need to talk to you. I have my own money. I don't need to beg you for money. SBA loans. With an SBA loan, we can fund you. You know what? I don't need your SBA loan. Why? Because I have my own capital. All right. I'm not an idiot. I know what I'm doing. I've done research. I have mentors. They're showing me how to do this. I don't need you. There's a lot of power and confidence in that. So in 30 days, well, you come to class. The class lasts 5 weeks. So in 30 days, we'll be done with class. You'll start implementing steps immediately week 1. Okay. You'll start getting your mind right. You start developing your unstoppable confidence. You'll start setting up your corporate paperwork. Then in a few months, you'll start getting offers in the mail. Then we'll start going through your wave 1 vendors, wave 2 vendors, wave 3 vendors. And after you implement the steps in the 40-step action plan, you'll start to be courted. It's like the dating game. You're going to start being on the radar to a lot of banks and vendors, meaning they're going to seek you out. They're going to want to loan you money, because they love to deal with someone who knows what they're doing and someone who's a good risk, someone who's underwritable. And that will be you, because you've done the 40 steps. So by the time 6 months comes around, your company will be seasoned enough that people will start paying attention to you. When I say people, I mean banks, institutions, funding partners, and so forth. You're going to be put on the radar because they need a minimum of 6 months for you to be in the credit reporting agencies for them to take you seriously. Okay. So perfect. 6 months comes around. By the time 12 months comes around, depending on how good your work ethic is, you'll have anywhere from $125,000 in funding or over $1 million in funding. Okay, now that depends on you. The 40 steps are always the same, and they work in any economy, whether you think banks are lending or not. 40 steps are proven. We've proven it in the 2008 recession. We've proven it when money was readily available. We've proven it this week. It works all the time, because these are techniques and secrets that have been used by corporations for over 100 years. Okay, so we're not teaching some kind of concept that is a fad. This is the way companies start, how they grow, and how they help people, and how you as an entrepreneur get massive freedom. So you're going to get a ton of freedom, money, time in your life. By the time a year comes around, you're going to wonder why you didn't do it sooner.
Thank you, Jorge. That sounds great. What are the top 3, let's say, obstacles that one might encounter while going through this process of building business credit, corporate credit, commercial credit?
Some of the roadblocks that they're going to encounter are they're going to be met with fraudsters, people who are scam artists. Unfortunately, in any industry, there are people who would love to rip you off. Okay. And so I have removed myself from the business credit world for the past 5 years. I didn't want to have anything to do with these companies that tell you on a pretty website, hey, come to me. I can help you raise $250,000 in 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. Okay. So that was everywhere. That's still out there, by the way. What happens is you give them your money. There's a boiler room operation. You give them your social security number. You give them a copy of your driver's license. You give them access to your banking information. You give them everything that they need in order to apply for credit on your behalf. So what are you giving an $8 an hour employee someplace in Florida or in some dungeon someplace in a phone boiler room operation? What are you giving them? You're giving them all the tools necessary to commit identity theft. Okay. This is an $8 an hour employee that's pretending to be a wealth coach. Okay, so there's a lot of fraud out there. Okay. So this is one of the big pitfalls, is that you're going to be met with someone who has a great pitch and they have a pretty looking website. But I want you to ask yourself a question. Whenever you see a website, whenever you see a pitch, or maybe on your Facebook link, you get an ad that says, raise business funding even with bad credit. Or another ad that says, corporate credit made easy. Come to our thing. Buy our thing. I want you to ask yourself, who's behind it and who's teaching it? Can you see their picture? Can you see their family? Can you see their success? Usually not. Usually it's a pretty website with clip art, and it's a girl with a headset, and it's a guy in a suit in an office scenario. It's clip art. It's not the people. And then so here's the challenge that I propose to you guys. All right, I'm gonna propose you do this. I want you to think of the last 3 people that offered you business credit services. Were they the epitome of success? Probably not. Did they emit success all around in all aspects of their life? Probably not. Did they have wonderful spiritual relationships? Did they have a wonderful marriage or wonderful kids? Are they successful in their own business, not just selling credit, meaning in their own business, whatever the business is? For me, that's commercial real estate. I buy apartment buildings. For them, what is it? Or do they just sell and that's how they make money? That's how they pay their rent, by selling people credit. What are they doing? Where's their success? Okay. Are they successful in their healthy relationships and in their body? Okay. Are they severely overweight? Do they have bad teeth? If someone's successful, you can hire the best chefs. If you're successful, you can hire the best cosmetic dentistry. All that takes money. So if they're out of shape and they're bad, something's going on, do they really have money? Otherwise, they'd fix it. Yes? I don't know.
Right.
Ask yourself that question. Are they the epitome of success in all facets of their life? So ask yourself that. Here's the other thing. Do you want to learn from someone who became an overnight success, overnight expert, instant expert? So here's what I'm talking about. There's companies out there that resell a business credit product. Okay. Any one of you listening could become a credit expert overnight. You pay the company $7,000 to $10,000. Now you become an expert. They give you a website. They give you lead generation systems, whatever. They give you videos and stuff. Now you dupe people and you scam people into giving you $3,000 to $10,000. Okay. Mm-hmm. They give you the money. Then you turn around and you go to the boiler room operation and you pay them a flat fee of $700, sometimes $300 if you send them a lot of business, sometimes $1,000 per file. So you collect the money from an unsuspecting person who believes you because you have a pretty website. Mind you, you're just starting. You have no real success. You don't even know what you're doing because the company does it all. The boiler room operation. All of a sudden, you hire the boiler room operation and you pass on your client's details to them, put them in the system, and they start getting their credit built. All right. Meanwhile, you know nothing about the process and what they're doing. And if your client fails, they're going to ask for their money back. And you're going to have to give that money back. And a lot of times you spent that money, puts you in a bad situation, which is why all of the people who were pimping out business credit services in the past 5 years, they're gone now. So guess what? I'm coming back into the marketplace and I'm going to start doing entrepreneur training boot camps, weekend event where you come in paired with 80 plus videos on a membership site. You start to learn, you come to the event, you become empowered. We start teaching you and you start moving along in building all of your funding and setting up your business correctly. The fakers are gone. Most of them are gone or in jail, or they just got burned out because everyone they scammed, they couldn't refund everyone. Merchant accounts got messed up. Those guys, the losers are gone. Now we can work together because I'm coming back onto the scene and it's going to be a great thing. So anyway, look, I know that I kind of, we're talking about, you want specific processes and so forth. More than turning this into a step-by-step, how do I get money? I just want to create awareness. Okay. It's out there. It's out there and you have to want it. And when you flip that switch, things are going to change for the better. And you're going to start being able to send your children to the finest private schools. You're going to start to be able to go out to the wonderful brunches and business dinners and business retreats, and your vacations are going to be gone. You're not going to be taking a lot of vacations. Are going to be taking a lot of business trips. because you really should be conducting business everywhere you go. So I'll show you how to do that, how to start living the corporate lifestyle, how to access hundreds of write-offs, legitimate write-offs that are available to you, instead of trying to operate as an individual and you're scrutinized when you try to do like your home office deduction, your mileage. Listen, if you're tracking your mileage because someone told you, you got to track your mileage for work, first leg, last leg, and in between. If you're doing that, you're still operating small time. You need to have a fleet vehicle that your company gives you because you're one of the founders. You need to fuel that vehicle with a fleet card. And the whole car is a write-off because the car was given to you by your company because you're a principal employee. You understand? Corporate lifestyle. We'll get there. We're not there yet, but we'll talk about it as we go along with these questions. The other thing is you will get in your own way because most of the people that I talk to on a daily basis have no awareness of the credit markets and credit industry, meaning most people have a poor money consciousness. They don't understand money and they're going to block themselves to it. So let me give you an example. I say to someone, hey, you should really develop your business credit, business funding. Oh my gosh, no, why would I want credit? Credit's bad. I've been told credit is terrible. I don't want credit cards. I don't need it. I have cash. I have investors. And therefore, you're like a cash business that never develops your profiles. Okay, so there's a way to block yourself. So what I'm going to challenge you to do is to open up your mind and listen to others that have done great things before you. Not just Jorge Bueno. Okay, I'm not going to pretend I'm the end all be all in terms of success and so forth. Okay, yeah, I have a bunch of apartment properties and yeah, fine. But listen to Google, the Google boys. Those guys maxed out their credit cards to get started, operating out of a garage in Northern California. Okay. They maxed out their credit cards and they're worth what? 20 billion more, whatever, 20 billion each, whatever the number is. Okay. Think of Walmart, Sam Walton. Okay. Got loans, maxed out his loans to start Walmart. Just, you name it. Take a look and do a case study on most businesses. There's always a credit transaction that is used before they go big or before they start. So for all the millennials out there that are like, hey, credit is bad, I need you to step back and go back to the founders of the country, the people who started big industry. And I want you to think about the tried and true tested methods. Do you want to go on Indiegogo and crowdfunder sites and beg for money? Because in essence, that's what you're doing. And what happens when you run out of that money? You're going to go beg again? Or do you want a perpetual cash money machine that you can have access to when you learn how to do funding, that you can secure funding anytime you have a new product or service that comes out? And that's what you're going to get when you learn how to do the things we teach in the business codex. So you can start doing your own funding plans, your own processes. Your own business plan has its own funding plan. You're self-sufficient, self-sustaining. You don't need other people. You can bring other people in terms of funding partners, venture capital partners, angel investors, crowdfunding campaigns. Do that for fun. SBA, do that for fun. Don't do it as your primary method of attracting capital. So you're going to block yourself. Be aware of that. The other thing you're going to do is you're going to not seek mentorship, and you're going to do it wrong. And you're either going to stop doing it, or you're going to blame the world and stop your business, or you're going to realize that you should have gotten mentorship from the beginning. Because if I know where all the minefields are and we're going into battle, would you rather follow me because I know what mistakes people make, the rookie mistakes that generally everyone makes? That's why most companies go out of business. Within 2 years, half of the companies that start today will be out of business. And then by 10 years, only 10% of the companies that start today, 10 years will be around. So the attrition rate is huge. Why? They run out of money or they mismanage. But generally they mismanage the money. And it's a huge, it's just detrimental all around. Okay. So scam artists, be aware. Blocking yourself because you think you don't need it because you're too cool. And the other thing is you just got to be careful of how you're continuing with this. You need to seek mentorship because when you fail, you got to start all over again. Business credit can't be repaired. So it's always going to be in your report and I'm going to be able to see it. Anyone that's going to loan you money is going to be able to see it. So here's the deal. Don't mess it up. Get in contact with someone who knows what they're doing. Do it correctly the first time. And that way you don't have to tell your kids, yeah, when I started my first business, I failed miserably on my feet. I had to live out of my car. And then I got mentorship and I got back on my feet. Why have to tell that story, man? Why don't you just do it right the first time? it has to do with you. Don't block yourself from being mentored. Seek out a coach who's been there, done that, someone who has what you want, has a lifestyle you want or you crave, and someone who's been where you are right now. That way they can relate, and it's someone that you feel like you're comfortable learning from, and that way you implement the process.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you 100%. It's very important to find the right person to learn from. Makes a big difference. Jorge, I've heard you mention the stupid tax. Could you tell us more about that? What is the stupid tax?
Yeah, when I say stupid tax, I mean procrastination tax or naive tax. Okay. I'm not talking about the IRS here. Okay. I'm talking about as an individual. Sometimes we have to pay a naive tax, a stupidity tax, or a fee for not doing the right thing the first time. In other words, sometimes you have to fail in order to learn that you should have done it right the first way, and you should have just sought out mentorship. And what's going to happen is that for someone listening right now is going to resonate with our message. And they're going to say, you know what? I don't care when it happens. I don't care what I have to do to get there. I don't care when the class is offered or how far, what do I have to do to get to that class? Whenever Jorge offers a class, I'm going to get to the class. By the way, I do a lot of webinars too. So sometimes you don't have to travel, but I like to do a live component as well. So we're in a room in a private session, and we're able to give you advanced tactics.
Awesome. So what is the first step one needs to take to get started?
Oh, well, you have to decide that you want it. I mean, look, I can have all the success in the world, and I can show you top-notch credit cards and, a bunch of money, gold bullion and success. And I can razzle-dazzle you with a bunch of toys and property, real estate and portfolios and stuff. It means nothing unless you want success for yourself. So what does that look like to you? It depends. Success to me is very different. For you, it might just be enough to maybe not have to work as many hours at your regular job. Maybe you just want to be able to take your children to a better brunch and your husband or wife to a nice brunch every single week. So whatever success is to you, you have to decide as a listener, as an entrepreneur, someone who's doing great things. You have to decide that you want it. Okay. So that's the first thing is seeking out mentorship and wanting and actually putting it out there. I want this for me. What do I need to do to get the knowledge? That's the first step. We're creating awareness for you. Correct. Okay. And now you can never say you weren't told, because you're listening to this right now. And if you ignore this right now, and 20 years down the road, you're starting a new business and a new corporation because you failed and you didn't get the techniques, you're going to say, dude, I just paid a 20-year naive tax because I didn't listen. I did it my own way. And now I have to relearn it and start over. Why do that? You shouldn't have to do that.
Exactly that. Jorge, where can our listener find you? Where can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, I'll invite them to go to thebusinesscodex.com. That's at the end, that's CODEX. Thebusinesscodex.com. And just go check it out. Poke around. We're redoing the site, putting a lot more free content up there right now. So if there is a holding page and there's an opportunity for you to put in your email address, just put in your email address. That way you can get updated. There's nothing sold there. There's nothing where I'm going to ask you for money. It's a notification list. So there'll be free training on there, all different facets of startup training and so forth. So yeah, thebusinesscodex.com, Jorge Bueno. I look forward to having you as a student and helping you reach your business dreams and goals and desires in terms of your own finances, making sure that you do things ethically, correctly with compliance. We teach all that. And then come and learn the 40-step action plan. But more importantly, continue to plug in to all the interviews from people that you respect, like Leon and Thriving Life. Listen to all the different interviews, continue to do your own due diligence. And then when I do offer a class, consider coming out, consider elevating your knowledge as an entrepreneur. That way you can start differentiating yourself and your business in the marketplace by having the capital that you need to go big. So your dreams will no longer be dreams. I want you to make them into a reality. And you're going to do that by having the money in place so that when opportunity meets you and you're prepared, you get things done and then people think you're lucky. No, you did a lot of hard work and you did a lot of preparation, but they'll call you lucky.
And there we have it. Another amazing guest has visited our club. Make sure to subscribe to the Thriving Life Club podcast on your favorite app. Simply go to thrivinglifeclub.com/ and the name of your favorite platform. iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Play, YouTube. You get the point. You will find the show notes, the episode freebie, and the resources mentioned during the episode by navigating your browser to thrivinglifeclub.com/ and the number of this episode. For example, for the episode 3, you would go to thrivinglifeclub.com/ 3. For the episode 7, you would go to thrivinglifeclub.com/ 7. We want to make this podcast the #1 podcast on iTunes in its category. When you feel inspired, head over to iTunes and give us a quick review to keep the podcast commercial free and get it discovered by more people like you and families like yours. Rate and review the podcast on iTunes and share it with your friends. Let's inspire more people together. And until the next episode, just remember, start where you are, use what you have, do what you can, live a thriving life.